Hola mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, reminding you that on Tuesday on Facebook Live at 7 p.m., I welcome you to Moments con Margarita. Stay ridiculously curious about the you that you are. Cultivate that self-trust by feeding your spirit love, kindness, and gratitude, and nurture your ego so that anxiety and fear has no room in your life. Hola mi gente, and welcome to Moments con Margarita. La Margarita here with you tonight. And today's topic is about understanding your you, the humanness of you, and the ways you choose to live your life, your dreams, your goals, etc. In the current trend of the hustle mentality, many have forgotten the simple rules of just living because they're too busy being busy. So because I didn't want to do this by myself, have invited a very close friend and fellow podcast co-host to speak some knowledge on what exactly is a person who is being and the person who is doing. So I would like to introduce, because he will be on the whole show with us tonight, Mr. Byron, Professor Byron Rockmore. Hola. Hello.
What up, girl?
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm
You
doing good.
look nice.
You know, I must be very honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Much always look nice because beautiful is beautiful. And how are you?
No. See, no. Today, listen. I was starting this off. You know, I said I'm gonna be cool with you. And I wrote myself "Be nice" to Margarita. I wrote it down, and see, you just taking it somewhere else already. You know what I'm saying?
We're responsible for our own how we present. Let's say hello to Kathy Ruiz. Kathy Ruiz, thank you for being on tonight and for meeting Mr. Byron Rockmore.
How you know she met me?
She's meeting you now.
How?
So
You didn't say it
tonight in meeting. So say hello to Kathy Ruiz.
I don't want to say hello to Kathy. I don't know Kathy. So I gotta say hello to Kathy.
She's a top fan, so you better get to know her.
She's what?
A top fan. Kathy, don't worry about him.
What? Hello, Kathy. Since I gotta say hello to you, I don't even know if Kathy's nice. Kathy
is beautiful. She's from Texas and she's vibrant. You'll see in her comments once we get to talking.
Well, I can't see any comments, so I take.
Oh, you're on your phone. You're on your phone.
No, I'm on my computer. I don't see no comments.
You should see it on your right side. Hi, Beatty.
I could read just fine. If I saw my comments, I would say I see my comments.
You would have to figure something out. Look at Kathy.
No, that's okay. We could just run through that.
And Byron, my love. See?
Iris?
Yes.
Oh, hello, Iris.
Erica Bolahala.
See, that's what I'm talking about. People with taste.
The old crew's coming back. Hey, Erica. Mm-hmm. I should have tagged what's his name?
Who? Kim?
No. He used to work. Jason.
Oh, my man. Oh, yeah. First of all, how you doing? How you feeling? What's going on with you?
You know what? I'm good. I'm highly blessed. I am good. Well protected. How's that?
You sound like an old black lady in church.
Yeah, I'm highly blessed and favored, boy.
Thank you, Jesus, for being Jesus. Yeah, that's what
I got. So, Byron, Iris is asking for another lunch in Brooklyn. Iris, when I get back.
Everybody want to come hang out with me in Brooklyn. I ain't got more visitors up here since I've been up in New York than I got in Tampa.
Right?
Everybody, this is not a vacation. This is not an Airbnb, okay? yeah. Since I moved up here, I can't get rid of folk. Tampa been up here like Tampa been representing, okay? More than even Bridgeport.
That's good. See, when you know, that's good. To know that you're loved and appreciated by people making trips and and saving money on hotels and staying with you. It's all good. It's
How
all
convenient. How nice and how convenient. Why do I always spell my last name wrong?
She said, "Why I got away from for you, Margie, because you do." But listen, so today we're talking about self-absorptions, right? Being self-absorbed. And I mentioned how in the current trend today, the hustle mentality is the team no sleep. If I got to get this money, if I got to get my product out there, if I'm building my business, if not sleeping, I can't be sidetracked by going out to dinner or sitting down and having a cup of coffee and conversation. Why is that? Hello, Eileen. We love you too. She says, love you both. Why do you think that is in today's society? And then please explain are you a person who is, or are you a person who does? Are you a being or are you a doer?
You asking, for all that for me. That's a mouthful, sister. Well, let's take it in chunks. Okay. All right. So if a person's self-absorbed, I think when you told me about somebody being self-absorbed, the first thing I thought about, like a narcissistic person. Then I thought about, sometimes you do get self-absorbed. I remember me doing a training, and the person was telling me, well, if you're not focused and almost crazy or maniacal with your training, then what are you doing at that point? There's nothing that should stop you while you're trying to complete this training. You know what I'm saying? And, like he was trying to be a Navy SEAL. So he said, so at the time I'm trying to be a Navy SEAL, and everybody's seeing me, they're thinking I'm crazy, but I'm supposed to be crazy to get a crazy ending, or to get something that's never been done before, something that's hard. Is going to take you being self-absorbed. Mm-hmm. And so we can't just discount somebody being absorbed with self at points in time. I think, when you could even say when I'm fasting, in those points, I'm self-absorbed because I'm not worried about what's going on. I don't care about what's, what I'm saying? But then even in me being self-absorbed at that time, then I'm really not, because then I'm really in tune with everything that's going on. So, there's always this trippy balance with every time we talk about something. And, I can never get this, I never have this, the lover, hater, the liker. It's always, me and you, Mark, you know what I'm saying? We can't stand each other half the time, but then we love each other.
Respect is there.
Yeah. So when we talk about a human being and a human doing, that's a little different for me. Now, a human being, what does that mean? You said a few examples. Drinking coffee. You know what I'm saying? Taking the time to drink coffee. I learned that from you. I learned that from you and my father-in-law. It must be something from Puerto Rico or something. He would always make me, my ex-father-in-law. He's still my father. I should say my other dad. That should be better. yeah. My other dad from Carolina, and he would always make me come meet him every day when he opened up his tire shop on Columbus Avenue, and he would make me some coffee, and then he would bring a loaf of bread and he would put it in the microwave. And I was like, why are you putting this loaf of bread in the microwave? And he would put it on defrost, and it would come out so soft, and I would sit there and eat it. And he would just speak, because he doesn't know any English. So he would just be speaking to me in Spanish the whole time. And I'd be sitting there going, And he made me come and sit with him. We did this for almost 7 years. Nonstop. Every day.
And then in that you learn that language really doesn't have a barrier.
At all.
You may not have understood what he was saying, but you felt
I understood him fully.
Now, Erica says sometimes people say you're self-absorbed because you aren't doing things for them. Absolutely true. And that's where this comes in, where Iris says that she was called the narcissist yesterday. Well, let me tell you, today we're talking about individuals who, with this hustle mentality, that if they see you taking a step back and not working your field, well, how are you going to be successful if you are not working it all the time? And I'm only speaking from experience. And I said, because you know what? Because I enjoy my me time. I enjoy having my cup of coffee and my cigarette in my sanctuary. And then my mind clears. So when I get back up to start painting my purses or writing another chapter in my book, I'm fresh. My ideas are fresh. Right. So when I hear other people that are nonstop and, I've been here and I'm doing this, and I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I can't do that because I have this and I have that. And then at the end of the day, you're just tired, right? Because then you get up and you do the same thing. So to be a doer must have some space in the day to being a being, to just being.
Well, hold on, Margie. See, you got to understand, a lot of this comes from like learned behavior. Information that we got. Osmosis. A lot of stuff. If you're in New York, a perfect example. I'm here in New York, right? So I'm a human being, okay, around a whole lot of doers, okay. So when I drive like a human being. Go ahead. You can go this way. So you first. Have a great day. You idiot, you asshole. But I just let them go through. Fuck off. This is what I get all day long because they're so busy doing, they're not being. If there's an old lady across the street, they hit on the gas. And her ass can't get across quick enough, it's on her. Okay. They just rob little kids. They steal what you put the kids in the morning and the school buses around here. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they do. So it's amazing watching a whole bunch of people doing. Mm-hmm. And then I realized I was like caught in the matrix myself. You know what I'm saying? I was caught in the matrix myself. The whole grind and doing things. One of the best things that ever happened to me is moving to the South. The best thing that ever happened to me is move to the South because it slowed me down. It made me breathe. It made me go to the Gulf or the Bay and then look at the water. You know what I'm saying? In Coney Island, I'm too busy, looking
at females. We're not going down that road. But yeah, we get it, Byron. Go ahead. Carry on.
We ain't supposed to have dead time, right? When we talking, because people don't know that I'm looking at you crazy right now. Yeah, but that's what I was doing when you heard me stop talking. So she was rudely interrupting me. I'm trying to be right, but she ain't let me be right. I'm trying to be a human being, not a doer, but she's not letting me be. You see, and that's sometimes we got problems when your person's seeing that you in your own vibe and space. They're taking that wrong. Like when they called Iris a narcissist. Now we both know Iris, can be in her own head sometime. Okay. However,
true. It's true.
Okay. However, she's not narcissistic. She got traits, but she ain't narcissistic. Okay.
Which we all do.
Which we all have traits. Okay. All of us do. Okay. So, but one thing I don't like is when people around me using words that they don't even know.
It's like a new word, right? Like this is a new word.
It's like when gaslighting was hot. Everybody told you gaslighting me.
Or the narrative. The
narrative is, you know what I'm saying? So just because everybody has Google now and they can pick stuff up, then all of a sudden they're therapists and clinicians, and they're not. Okay, you can't give a diagnosis just because you see something. You can't even give a prognosis because you don't even train well enough to do so. So shut up. Okay, look at the person, see what's going on. A human being is a person who's taking time to be more spiritually in tune or more in tune with the surroundings around them, to be conscientious of others, being conscientious of self, and then trying to evolve. That's what I would call a human being. A human doer, I call this thing called blind progression. Me and you talked about it all the time. And you really look nice today. It's the lighting.
It must be, Carrie.
It's the lighting. And the little beads on your head, they're glittering and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm being mesmerized.
Oh, marón de mí.
I'm being beguiled.
Milagros. Say hi to Milagros. Hola,
enchanted. Milagros. Okay? Enchanted. Yeah. Enchanted. I like that we can always break and do these things when we want to. But, when a person is not really on point or a person is trying to learn about themselves, then they're going through the stages being aware. I can remember going through parts of my life like a blind progression, meaning that just like when you drive in your car and you pull up and you don't even know how you got there, that's a blind progressive state. Now, don't write it down because I've already trademarked it. Okay, so it's already trademarked. So don't even try. Don't write it down. Okay, Iris, don't write it down. Okay, so I got to mess with Iris today. And so when you go into that blind progressive state, you don't even know that you are doing certain things. I remember, I wish somebody had like pull me to the, pull my coattail on some stuff, but I didn't know because I'm in that blind progressive state. In that state, I think I'm a human being doer. I'm not being, but you have to learn how to be. Some people just got it and other people have to learn it.
And when you go down that winding road called life and you have to make a choice, and I know I remember always when my children were small, when they would leave, I would say, make wise choices. I still do when I hang up with them or whatever, make wise choices. Because people need to be reminded of that. You do have a choice to make a choice. So if you got to make that choice, make the right one. Make the right one best suited for you.
Right.
So I think people need to want to learn how to be a part of being. You said something earlier, and it's exactly what it is. When you want to be spiritually aligned, you have to incorporate being a human and utilizing your 5 senses in that moment. Because then when you become that doer and you go on to the next task, you're light on your feet. You're thinking clearly, you have more energy running through your veins. And that's what people are missing. That's why I wanted to speak about this, because people are missing that important part of feeding your spirit, becoming aligned with who you are and what you like, or just sit down. Just sit down. Put your favorite song on. Let me tell you something about music. I love music. And if I love a song, I'm going to play that song until it makes me nauseous. And then I won't hear it no more. Because I love, there's just, when I play my jazz, I just get so lost for hours painting. People need to find something like that. That's going to.
But I like what you said. But what you need to do, and like how you told me the other day, how you was going to incorporate some breathing techniques.
Yeah.
And you said that, it blew my mind. I said, she's there. She's really there. Okay. And because coffee is your tool for, being. Okay. Mm-hmm. But everybody doesn't have that tool. So one thing, I used to have clients do the 30 seconds of silence. Now, a lot of counselors don't like to do silence because it irritates them. But for me, I like silence because it allows for, an opportunity for you to kind of feel yourself and fill the room. And silence is okay. I remember I thought silence was bad. So even when I used to go on a date, I used to think I had to talk all the time and not just,
to fill the void, because it's
felt like a void. I felt that I was being boring if I didn't speak. So then I felt that I had to do, not be. See?
I like that. See? That. That was very.
This came out genius again at work. Well done.
Clear on what we're talking about. Erica, please chime in. One thing, Kathy, Milagros, Edie, Eileen, Erica, Byron, and I all work together, so we've always had debates.
Erica's. I didn't see Erica was there. Tell you, what's up, Erica, girl?
She's the one that said about people being self-absorbed.
Love.
Yeah.
It's in the building.
Right. But that statement she wrote, which I think you can see it on the screen, is sometimes people say you're self-absorbed because you aren't doing things for them. That is absolutely correct. And I can't type enough, she says. But, I think that you hit that on the nose. That was perfect. People need to the simpleness of life, because what is life? It is not difficult. What makes life difficult?
We do.
With what? With our thought patterns and our choices.
And I go back to the choices is right, but not a willingness. When you have a bad relationship, for me, I've learned to look at myself first. And everybody said you shouldn't do that. You always beat yourself up. But because I know I'm a trip. So I'm not going to just put it on somebody else. So I can't say, my wife, my ex-wife, my wife, saying that it was all me, because there's a pattern and there's a common denominator, which is me, moi. Okay. So I can't put that on everybody else. I have to say, what part am I playing in this? And then am I okay with that part? Did it serve its purpose? But that's me trying to be. Because if I'm just doing, of course it's everybody else's fault. If I'm just doing, of course you did it. If I'm just doing, it was all your fault. I couldn't be messed up. See, when you're in the doing phase, the reflecting or the self-reflecting doesn't happen, I don't think. But remember, it has to be a balance to that too, because everybody just can't be, artists are doers for a lot. You know what I'm saying? A lot, they're into being artists. Some artists in certain facets, they're into being. But in all that being, sometimes they ain't worth a damn because they can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But they're art. Is that okay?
Yes, it is okay. Because let me tell you something. When we consider a person who does exactly what you just said about that artist, and not because I'm an artist, I don't consider myself an artist. I just like to paint and that part. But let me tell you something. A person who does exactly what you just said, just do art, that is the person you want to talk with or sit in silence with. Why? Because they got it.
Explain.
They need the outside world to speak to them about trends, or maybe you should do it this way and you gotta sign up with this. They are complete with the lifestyle that they chose.
Okay. Now, is that complete or is that being self-absorbed?
It is not being an artist who just sticks to his art, whether they sell it or not. Let me tell you something. You know me. You've been here. My house is a gallery because I really hate to depart with my art. It's very like, I don't really, even at the recent book signing, my niece wanted to buy a piece and I was like hoping nobody wanted to buy the pieces I brought because there's an attachment, but that's just me.
Oh, you can feel it when you can feel that you're not really trying to sell your art when you're trying to sell your art.
Exactly.
You like this? You don't really like you. I'm like, what? She wasn't trying to get rid of that.
So I think when a person is an even keel with what they chose to do, we'll look at them as they're not doing enough because we feel we gotta be like that hamster on that wheel, always going somewhere and never ending up anywhere. This person loved art. He went against probably the parents' decisions for him to study medicine or whatever. Right. And he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave, and I'll be a struggling artist because this is my passion. This is what I love to do. He doesn't need, or she doesn't need, all the latest style clothing, the high-rise. Right. That's not a self-absorbed person. That is an enlightened person who knew who they were, what they liked, what they did that made them happy, and didn't care what anybody had to judge. See, those are the people we need to gravitate to because those are the people when we sit with, we learn from. Life is simple. And if you appreciate the simplicity of life, you're not that hamster on that wheel. You're not a constant doer trying to outdo the next person you saw on social media that you don't even fucking know. But because they made it, you don't know the struggle that goes behind everything.
Can I ask you a question? Why are you so anti-social media and you on it all the damn time?
I'm not on it all the time.
You on it more than the average bear.
I'm going to tell you why. And this started like it's been a minute. I've been talking about this for a while. I think it takes away my focus from me. See, since January, my thing was to live 2022 quarterly. So I set goals for myself that had to be met by March 31st. That did not include my car getting totaled on March 31st. But hey, shit happens, right? Goes up. But everything I set out to do, and plus, because I never put in painting purses and selling them. And they were selling before I completed painting each one. Yeah. So I'm happy with that. But I said, I'm going to set the date for my coffee company launch. And I'm going to have my spot reserved for when I open my coffee cart in June. It was done. My logos for both companies, done. My registration and registering my coffee cart with the agriculture department, done. You understand? So now in April begins my second quarter of goals. Does that mean anything? Let me tell you something. Why? Kathy, thank you for saying I'm glowing. You know why I'm glowing? Because I have experienced, I was a miracle.
Because you're pregnant with possibilities.
Thank you. Here was this car. My car is totaled. The driver was coming at me at the driver's side. The driver's side from bumper to bumper has no dent. What does that tell me? That my purpose is not complete in this life. that what I'm doing, what I was doing prior to the accident is I was in my lane and I can't veer off anywhere. That is why the only thing I came out with was the seatbelt burn on my neck, on my thighs, and on my stomach. No pain anywhere on my body. So
did you get a scar? Did you get a scar on your chest?
Nope. The airbag burned a hole in my new shirt.
No, I just thought you was going to show it to us.
Never touched my skin. So why I am glowing. I am glowing because my faith has once again was my armor. My car was my armor. I walked away. Why? Because I walk in my truth and I'm heading to where I have to be by staying in my lane and being aware, because I'll still give you the shirt off my back. I may not have much, but whatever I have, if I eat, you eat. And I think that if we're aware of what's going on around us, we will progress more in whatever.
Well, right. But remember, everything, we're doing is kind of in this cumulative, and we kind of build up on that. So, it just was said, yeah. She said, well, she just said, well, thank you. It's cumulative. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, it's cumulative. So we got to kind of build up on that. And then slowly but surely we'll get to that point, by having this conversation, having dialogue. Having dialogue kind of, feeds the mind. And then, where the student, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And when you're really trying to, remember in New York, I know a lot of other people might not know, when little kids, when they play on the sidewalk, they do this thing with the rope called double dutch.
Yeah.
And then double dutch. And if you haven't seen double dutch, for some people say, what's that? This is crazy.
Amazing.
Okay. Well, it's three kids and they're two kids on the end, and they have two ropes, not one rope. And they're moving that rope simultaneously in this like vortex of wind, right? Yeah. And while they're doing this, and they're moving their head, and they're talking about somebody, about your mama is fat, but your sister is not, and they're doing this in this rhythmic spark. This is as black as you're gonna get. And while that's happening, the person's on the outside waiting to jump in this onslaught of ropes. Now, if you jump in wrong, it's going to smack you and put a whip on your head, your forehead, and your ass. Now, if you live in New York, whether you black, Puerto Rican, whatever, you know what double dutch is. But for other folks might not know what it is. Once you get in, you do your thing, and then you get out. Just like anything else, it takes time to learn how to flow. I think by talking about human being and human doer, you're allowing and telling people that there is a choice. There is a blue pill and there is a green pill. And then now you can really, you're going to be both of them. Okay. You're going to have a little bit of both of them. But before, you wasn't even aware.
You're going to be yellow.
Right. You can be yellow. Right. You wasn't even aware that the other piece existed. Okay. So when I learned that I can be instead of do, my brain went pow. Now, you got to be careful not to be caught into your be a little too much. Because you still got to do a little bit.
It's a balance.
It's a balance. And then like when I found out how good it was being, see, when you find out how good it is when you start to be, that's almost like an elixir. So you got to be careful because you can stay in the B zone for a long time. So
but sometimes you have to, right? Sometimes you
got to get in that do zone too. Okay.
There's some people that can sample something and taste every seasoning that went into it. And then you have other people like me that want to eat the whole plate before I can tell you, oh, I tasted the saffron in there, right?
And me, I didn't even taste nothing. I just ate it.
So there you go. So look at this analogy. So there are going to be people that are going to step out of their being a doer zone and say, you know what, let me try this. Even if I try it once a week, I'll be able to be silent, sit in silence, and reflect on everything I've done so far. And then once a week will turn into twice a week. And then before you know it, they're double dutching like a champion.
Like a champ.
But who can give them that permission to do that? Like, who can say, listen, just stop? Like, do they have to learn it from somewhere? Do they have to hear it from somebody? Or are they going to realize, I just got to sit the hell down? Like,
well, now they don't have to have this spiritual moment to have this spiritual awakening. I mean, so you don't have to have it now. You know what I'm saying? Now with so much information, things going through, you don't have to have a spiritual moment to have a spiritual awakening. You can get like enlightened before this. Because usually spiritual moments is like that car accident. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then so you don't have to have that now. You could be on the podcast listening to us, and you can get your spiritual moment right now. And then because usually a spiritual moment is some hardship that you probably don't want on your ass that makes you come to a point that makes you say, okay, I need to change up. And me, I had a few of them in my life that happened and say, you know what? Doing ain't good. You got to be with people. You got to be. I remember when I used to do sales. When I did sales, I used to go and I'm talking. I was, down south doing them. And then my guy pulled me to the side and my sales was terrible. He said, I said, why my sales are so bad? He said, because these people, they from the South, man. You never eat with them. I said, what you mean? Because when we did our thing, we did it like where people were eating and it was time to, we could interact with the people. But I would just go do my pitch and sit my ass back down. I wouldn't interact. And he says, because you doing your pitch, but you ain't being with the people. Ooh, and I said, what you mean? He said, you keep doing your pitch and it's damn good, but I'm not good like you, but I be with them so they break bread when I'm being with them because I'm being with them. Okay. So I said, well, damn, if his dumb ass could figure that out, then I need to do something. So I sat down and the next day they said, do you would like something to eat? And I said, but of course. And I sat down and ate. They said, would you like something to drink? I said, well, give me double. And then I'd sit there and did that. They said, oh, that's a good guy right there. That's a good guy right there. And I went up there and with my sales, I am not exaggerating, didn't double. They didn't triple. They was outrageous. And you remember how many times I done came and told you about that, right? Outrageous, okay? Like I ain't got to work for the rest of the week outrageous. Off of one, that's how being changes things. And for the guys out there who always talking about you never get a woman, because you're not being, you are doing. Stop doing. You don't have to keep buying stuff. You ain't got to keep doing all that stuff. Just chill. Sit around them. Give them a little liquor. You know what I'm saying? and be with them. Just be with them. Make them comfortable. I'm giving you the tea now. Okay. So if you're listening, brothers, get your pen. I gave you the tea. Okay. So you talking about you ain't doing nothing and your life boring. I just got to talking to my nephew. And I told him you ain't made him comfortable. You ain't being. So when you be, people get comfortable. When people get comfortable,
you gotta arouse people with conversation. And see that I'm a storyteller, so I talk to everybody and then I'll try and sell. And look what Kathy wrote, that she knows what I mean. When you create from the love that flows from you, you see the beauty in what you have created. I found this in quilting, making dream catchers, and other crafts. You feel the beauty in the items you create and think, how can I part with this beautiful creation? Yet you created it in love for another. Yeah. I started painting.
What you mean,
because it's like, okay, I know I made this. Even when I sold my purses, it was like, but and it is
right.
Painting. She's absolutely correct. But I started painting, remember, when it was when Eric was dying. And that was like my gift from God to help me transfer my sorrow and grief onto canvas. And I think I have to change that narrative.
Bum, 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 bum. All right.
Hearing that, and I want to say, Erica says that only they can tell themselves. Yes, that was the answer I was looking for. Because we can talk to 50 people about an issue we got going on, and they can give us great advice. And guess what we're going to do? What the hell we wanted to do in the first place. So that's why I tell people, don't waste my time. You're going to come ask me something, make sure you want to know what the answer is.
Like an addict. An addict is not an addict until they tell you they are.
Yeah. And they never
a criminal. A criminal's not a criminal until he say he is.
Until he gets caught.
There he is. No. Because he could be caught. He could be caught.
Wasn't me.
He could be in jail. And he could say it wasn't me. He'd be like Shaggy up in there.
And Iris says, Byron, we from the BPT. We know Double Dutch.
Oh, Lord.
Project, okay.
Listen, why you bring up Bridgeport?
Thank you.
We didn't have no Bridgeport sightings all day.
Now, here we go. Another one. Connie says, hi, sis. Hi,
Byron. Hey, yeah. Connie.
Like Erica's throwing them up. Yes.
We ain't seen nothing about Bridgeport all day.
Henny say, hola.
Uh-oh. Give me a drink, Hen. Give me a drink, Hen. Give me a drink.
Bridgeport, big city of dreams. Don't make me pop out that rap. But yeah, so for those who are newly on, we're talking about
big city of dreams.
Being or a human doer. Now, I'm not. I brought this up because a lot of
people. Bridgeport people just make up their own songs for themselves, huh?
No, just like New Yorkers do.
There's no such thing as a Bridgeport, big city of dreams. Who made that? You just made that up.
No, that's our national anthem. By the rapper. Don't be talking about my city, because I told you talking about my city is like you talk about me being Puerto Rican, and you ain't winning this war. It's not
look, Henny just popped the bottle for me. You see that drink right there, right? So Henny just popped that bottle. So I don't know what you talk about. Henny, pop! He popped that with that 1799, 1786, 1802. Yeah, he hit it for me.
Yeah, Henny would never fail you with that. But so we're bringing up this thing. It's not to criticize if you're a doer or if you're a being, because what we wanted to bring to light is
the trick is we all are at certain times.
To have a medium, yeah. Because what is the balance of life?
These trick questions you're asking me?
The balance of life.
Do I look like the margarita guru? I don't know what the hell is the balance of life. Shit, you tell me.
Is that, sorrow, is, and grief is turned inside out. It's laughter, joy. And it's like there is a yin yang to everything.
The contrast.
And what I'm saying is too many of us, we stay on one thing, and a lot of people start off with such great intentions. That's why I said the road to hell was paved with great intentions, right? You start off with great intentions, but your mind is thinking this hustle mentality. Team, no sleep. I can't go out now. I can't meet you here. Listen, I got to hang up because I got to do this. Sitting in front of your computer 8 hours a day. You're going to burn out. You're going to burn out, and you're not going to achieve your goals because you're going to burn out. Or by the time you get there, you're tired of it. You done missed out on everything. You done burned a hole through your bank account. So it's like you must try and find that balance. It's like being married. You got to find that balance of consistency, right? When you got a partner, you're not going to be happy all the time. I used to tell my husband, I'm always going to love you, but I'm not going to like you all the time because you get on my nerves. He said, I don't like your ass half the time either. Boom, we came to an agreement. It was not a secret, so that we must be blatantly honest with ourselves. Like, you know what, Margie, just stop, put the paintbrush down, stop.
Well, that's what I'm learning. I'm learning about equity, okay, and things being equitable, and I get confused with equity and like almost equilibrium in a sense, or things being fair. And sometimes equity is not fair in a sense, but it kind of, it's somewhere there's a balance. But even if there is no balance, if you understand what equity is, then you can view it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you have a project and you don't know how to take the data, and then you say, what happened? Nobody knew how to take the data. I think not, since I'm learning what equity is, I'm learning how to take the data now. You know what I'm saying? So I can say, you know what? I am doing a lot for this relationship. So that I can even ask, you know what? Could we step up a little bit? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can ask for that because I'm understanding what equity means. So, and then by understanding but only reason why I'm understanding what equity is because I'm learning how to be, what's this? What she wrote? Read what she wrote.
Goals can't be just about money. You have to have goals for other things. Be a doer for your own peace of mind. Be a doer reflecting. Yes. But
listen to this. But listen, for me being here in New York, yeah, right. Me and my dad was talking about. He's talking about Rome wasn't built in a day, and I said, well, I bet you the slaves came up with that. That saying, the Rome was built in a day because they didn't want to get their ass worked so much. You know what I'm saying? It's That's what we just got him just because we're talking about that. He said, how did you come up with that in your mind? I was like, you keep telling me Rome wasn't built in a day. You always keep telling me to slow up, slow down, slow this, slow that. Like, it's like I'm telling you, it's a crazy balance because how I'm grinding right now for stuff, right? And it's like I have to make myself stop because there's so much I have to do, and if I don't do it, it don't get done. So, and that's part of why I never wanted to come back up here. You know what I'm saying? Because that grind is so intense that I try not to be a victim of the doer's mentality. But I'm telling you, I get high off it. I tell you that I know where the drugs is at. I can tell you that I take a hit. I can tell you that, I might not be a junkie anymore, but I didn't use. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, because that doer, is so innate in me. I'm not speaking about other people, that I have to make sure I am consciously aware to override the doer. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but you know what? Out of anybody here, I can say this for Henny. I see Henny taking pictures. He's always going on trips. That he does, because his grind is heavy hard. He got a heavy hustle. Okay, I ain't trying to put your business on the street, Henny.
No, but he also he does manage it. He does balance.
He manages it. Right. With the kids.
Tell us what you do to relax from all your hustles. But yeah, continue.
Right. So then that ability to sit down and just take that deep breath and enjoy it. I'm learning that what's the purpose of all the grind? What's the purpose of all the push and you're not enjoying yourself? What's the purpose of all this push and your family's passing you by and nobody know you and you just like you don't even exist? My dear mother just passed just recently, and ain't nobody had more hustle than this chick. This is New York's finest hustle. But how does that translate on the love for your kids? How does that translate for everything else? Now, did she yeah. Did she gather? Hell yeah, she stacked. But wow, but a lot of stuff was missed. Now, so what did we learn from that? We learned that how we don't want to be anymore. You know what I'm saying? Only thing I can do for my sons, even my son who just passed, he showed me. I told you when he called me before he passed and said, "Dad, you was the best father any kid could ever have." He told me that I was being with him. You know what I'm saying? And he told me that for my spirit, because God knew that if he didn't tell me that, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. So when he told me that he said, "Don't makes no difference what your other kids tell you. They stupid. Don't even listen." I'm telling you, you was the best father any of us could have, and we got the right dad for the right kids. So that's a human being, not doing. God knew, my higher power knew I needed to hear that for the doer to stop, for the doer to slow down, for the doer to do. And then 2 weeks later, he passed. And this is the part about doing I missed. He had asked me to come to a cookout on Mother's Day, and I didn't come. And I suppose I went. And he left from that cookout and he died.
Sorry. But he taught you.
Oh yeah, he taught me a lot.
Because
he taught me a lot. He taught me. I wouldn't be able to tell you the story right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, doing, you miss stuff. Doing, you lose stuff. But we gotta see. It's a funky balance, because the world ain't gonna stop for us while we it's pity potting, crying, not getting it. But then I think by balancing out, let me get these glasses right. Yeah. No, you can't be looking funky when you do these things.
But
okay.
Well, the world ain't waiting for me. Well, you know what? Everything's done on timing.
Right.
Time on the time it's supposed to happen.
Right.
Doing and getting exhausted and missing out on your family's life, it's still not going to get you ahead of the game, because everything will 100%. Happen as it's supposed to happen. You see? So whether you were working till 10 o'clock last night, you went to work today, you still had shit to do. That working late, dinner with your family, being exhausted to then rise and then do. What did you accomplish other than a couple paperwork or phone calls or anything that could have been handled that very next morning? People need to feel that they're doing something, that they're accomplishing something. But you know what? Sitting down with an elderly, sitting down with the kid, sitting on the floor with the kid, your kid, the neighbor's kid, I don't give a shit, a kid, or reading a book and enjoying a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, it's like you're that arrow in that bow that's been launched forward. Because when you get to where you got to be, You're gonna be already, your spirit was already there, casing the joint for you.
Right.
And if you believe in anything bigger than yourself, then you would believe that timing is a thing. Sabbath is Saturday. They said God rested on Sunday. I don't know, Sabbath. But he did it in 7 days.
Right.
So, you know what? And everything was done on its time. The animals, the oceans, everything. If you believe in God or how the universe began, then you would know that. So everything has its timing. We are always in a rush, and that's why we fall flat on our face. Then when we don't meet our goals because we've been hustling and doing, now we got attitudes with everybody who loves us around. You know that because we've both been there. We've both had that attitude. Every time I had to get the fundraiser done, the wine fundraiser, the night before the walk, I was so frustrated. Byron would tell me, sister, just sit down and just shut up. Why? Because I felt I had to do everything on my own. So I'm not talking because I read about this. I've lived there. I've been that person, and I've been ugly about it as well. For what? People still showed up. Everything was the way it's supposed to be. So, and that's when I went to Spain, and I walked, and I met people, and I came back with such a different mentality. Totally different, right?
Totally different person.
And I believe that I went at the right time. I'm walking in the mountains on Eric's 2-month anniversary, and I'm walking and I'm meeting people, and I come back with just such a different, my glasses were totally different. And I saw the world for what it was, beauty and peace, so, and I think that when we acknowledge everything around us, we're being in the graces of the wind. Robert Frost, one of my favorite quotes from Robert Frost is, the rain said to the wind, you push and I'll pelt. How beautiful is that? And on any given day, I can be the wind or I can be the rain, and then don't get me pissed because I'll be that thunder, lightning rolled up all into it. But I can be one and I can do the other. And sometimes we're just at peace with our togetherness. And I think that's what people need to know. Milagros said, time is perfect. Listen to the time. Yes. It's all on timing. And Petey said, but when it was done, it was amazing. Well, I don't, which part, Petey? Because I know we're delayed. But Byron, what are 3 steps a doer can do to begin being? Erica, chime in too, please.
What are 3 steps
that a doer can start learning to become a being, or to share his time or her time with doing and being? Because you can do both. You can be working and still acknowledge something. Listen to the birds outside your window. That's being. That's being.
One thing I would like for that person to do is identify somebody who discussed him, probably the person who's like a being, or a person who's being. Identify that person. You know what I'm saying? And then that, because sometimes the best thing to do is emulate something that you're trying to be. So so if you see somebody who you kind of like their style, like anything. I remember I always tell you, anytime I'm going to do something different, I go get a cultural informant. And like, when I got back to Brooklyn, Brooklyn was, Brooklyn got like Crips and Bloods and shit in the corner.
Oh, I thought that was only at California.
I thought I was on the West Coast. Niggas are, excuse my French. I had Crippin' and shit. And then I talked to my man. I said, yo, what's going on? He said, yo, that's that Crip street. I'm like, what? Out here? So Tupac won and Biggie lost. Anyway. So that's a whole nother discussion. So it's for real. So then
talk about my Tupac though, because I'm a Tupac fan.
No, I'm saying Tupac won, Biggie lost. You can tell by New York now. So and that's another discussion. So we got in the car, and you know how I get down. You've been with me in Briquet, so you know how I get it in. So we got in the car and we rode around, and he said pull over, and we pulled over the car, and he walked me through Brooklyn for 3 days and get me back acclimated, because I gotta be running. So I got
aligned with the streets.
Yes,
but that's being.
But right.
Integrating once again.
So I would tell people that you would need to get a cultural informant Okay. And they're all around. There's people who you really like their being, and you might not even like them because they pissing you off when you see them just being. Okay. And then ask them and talk with them about how they're being. I think that would be such a good thing to do. And then the person who's being would really enjoy it because they being in there. Say, go come drink coffee with me. You know, and it would just take them out their comfort zone. It would make them have to search something different. Remember when I was all my stuff and I had to go start doing karate? You remember that? You remember that? That my sensei? You remember I was trying to beat up that little kid and he
and he got you. You came over here for coffee right after that, didn't you? Yes, I remember.
He beat the dog shit out of me. Well, the sensei said pick two people, so I picked the kid and I picked the old man. I didn't know the kid was limber and the old man been fighting karate for 40 years. They beat the hell out of me, boy. So that was it. But I was getting done, but I was being, okay? Could you find something better for me to do after the death of my son to do what was wow? That was a savior to find a cultural informant, to find something to do. Like she said, she not telling you what she think. She telling you what she know. Okay, I'm telling you, I went and found a cultural informant. I went and got outside my box. I went to a karate class that I ain't been to, never did no Shotokan, nothing as the sort. And she'll tell you in my life, it's been 4 or 5 times I had to do that. Okay, so everybody is in their comfort zone. If we're telling you what you can do to be a human being instead of a doer, get out your comfort zone. So I said mine. So what Erica said?
Erica says she liked what you said about learning to sit in silence for 30 seconds. That's a good place to start. It absolutely is. I love silence.
Erica's a genius. That's why.
And Erica, you got to admire Erica too, because
genius.
We all go through that phase of wanting some company here and there. But I love living alone. I think for the past 5 years that I've been a widow, I've grown accustomed to being alone.
You love it. See, now my brain is clicking. I just can't let you get away with that. Do you love it? Do you love it?
I love it. I love it.
So you never want to get married again?
I didn't say that. Do not mix the two. I said I
can mix what I want to mix. You can't tell me what I can't mix.
Solitude. I love.
I asked you a question. You ain't got to get all snappy with me.
Everything exactly how I left it.
And you ain't gotta be turning red and trying to overtalk me either. Let's back it up. Okay, let's back it up. I want to hear it. So you saying that you don't never want to get married again?
No. See, you're doing too much right now. Okay. I said I love living alone, and someone asked me, you plan on it, and I said, I cannot see myself cooking for someone. I'm doing somebody's laundry. Like having to tell somebody, listen, I'm gonna be late because I'm gonna go here. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna go on a girls' trip. I can't see right now at this age. I'm enjoying my freedom of spirit, of mind, and of body. And I don't feel lonely. I don't feel like I need a man. I've been, it's just been me learning me and loving every bit of my flaws, my accomplishments, and what I plan on doing going forward. But let me tell you what I love the most about myself. If something that I plan to do falls through, I'm okay. If something that I plan to do, I decide midway, fuck it, I don't want to do it. I'm okay because I am okay with who I am, what my choices are, and what winding road I'm going to choose to walk on. Because the rest of my life is just that, the rest of my life. So I don't need anyone to give me accolades for what I've done, what I'm doing, and what I may do. I don't need a celebration because I've done something, unless I'm saying I'm going to have a launch party. Who wants to come? You understand? If I invite you to my celebration, then yeah, by all means, wear a hat and blow a fucking whistle. But I don't need I don't need that. You've known me. I never cared for people being the hoorah. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, when I do it, how I do it.
You're going to do it.
And if I like it, I'm going to love it. And if I don't, at least I tried it. You know, that's always been my gig. And I try to be, I think I'm more of a human being than I am of a doer, because I block time out to do something. I could be great with Anna Long if I dedicate my time to working. But you know what? I enjoy living. And that's just how I'm going to live my life. My car was totaled. It's going to be a whole lot to get a new car. It'll probably be a minute. But Iris and I already had our tickets booked to go to Portugal in May. And 10 minutes after the accident, my niece and my daughter come. I'm done shaking. I'm looking at the car. And they're like, Mommy, are you okay with your car? And I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? It breaks my heart. But it served its purpose. And then I looked and my knee was hurting. And I looked and my feet were okay. And I said, I'm still going walking in May. Like, they both looked at me.
It didn't stop the show.
Like, why would you say that now? Why not? Because I got to tell myself. I thought it. Now I spoke it. It rippled down my tongue.
Affirm it.
Came right back in.
Right.
You know what? Because
you made it real.
Nothing really stopped me from doing what I got to do, but myself.
One thing I gotta say, and you really impressed me, and I had to. I wrote it down, and you said something. You just talking, you know. I like every time you talk, I just I just write notes so I could bother you about it later. But you said something about beauty and peace, and you let it kind of roll off your tongue like that. And it's so funny when I think of you, I always think of beauty and peace.
Aww.
Oh no, seriously. I mean, you just like stole the word that I was going to use for you, and you stole it, right? I was going to say it for you, and you stole it, and I wrote it down already, and I'm like, how did she do that? How did she steal my word? That's a perfect example of being. You know what I'm saying? When two people are trying to make sure they complement each other and help each other and support each other. You know what I'm saying? That's a perfect example of being a friend, being there for each other with no, we don't even have a filter for each other. You know what I'm saying? We just, and we piss each other off. We won't talk for a few days.
When we speak truth to one another.
Right. Can you tell me something? Right. You want to hear it? I'm like, I say, I'm done talking to you. I don't want to hear it.
You don't answer my calls, or you'll call me and say, you just said something that pissed me off. And I'm like, why? And you're like, because it was the truth. And I'm like, all right, bye. And we do that to one another. And that's beautiful. And Erica too, which we got to catch up, Erica. And like my cousin Iris, we tell each other the truths now. She's out of her darkness after 3 years. And now,
she's fire.
Iris. Fire. Feisty,
shit,
confident. She's brazen with the people she needs to be, and she's doing what she wants.
Right. So then somebody seeing her will be like, "Oh, you being narcissistic, or you doing this?" No. When did she get her shine? When did she get her time to let herself be heard? You know what I'm saying? When do you do that? Me and you both have our outlet like this, or we can talk, and we gregarious anyway by nature. So we don't care if somebody really don't care. We don't care.
We don't care.
Nobody liked me when I was in school.
Look,
all the dudes wanted to chase me and beat me up because all the girls wanted to go come home with me. So I've always been ace number one, kick his ass every time they see me. So I've never been that dude who, I don't, like you said, don't need that. But I can tell you this though, you definitely, when we talk about human being and human doing, for every person, if you're willing to take that journey for yourself, it's going to be a beautiful thing, because you should not let this whole life pass you by and not know how to be a human being. Only time I can remember my mother being a being and not doing is on the holidays. And the only time I can tell you, the time I see my mother the happiest is when just sitting around and we just eating biscuits. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm saying that always with a heavy heart, because I can see how you can lose so much and not have so much. Well, I remember right before she died, everybody in the family came and saw her on Mother's Day. Has been big days on Mother's Day, and she was sick and she couldn't even move, and she didn't want nobody to come because she didn't want nobody to see her sick. And I'm like, Mom, you can't deny everybody an opportunity to see you, just like we did with Eric. You know what I'm saying? And that's another story with Eric. But she had everybody, and she sat in the chair, and then she was so overwhelmed by all the love she got. She just took a towel and threw it over her head while everybody was there, because she was just so overwhelmed. So she got a chance to be an existence of being and feeling on the energy and the love and the spirits there and everything healthy. We cannot deny ourselves that. I'm working on it because I'm such a hard ass or something, not to be a doer all the time. So I'm challenging myself, and I tell anybody who's listening to challenge yourself. Anybody who loves somebody, challenge yourself and see if you can do something better. And I appreciate, the opportunity to come and talk to you about that.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. That was beautiful. And let's follow that 30-second. Try it 30 seconds once every day. You choose. It's like on the other show when I told you, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right before lunch, write down what your thoughts were, what the conversations with yourself were. Right before dinner, write down the conversations you had with yourself from lunch on. And then right before bed, what was the conversation you had with yourself? Because then that's when you start getting yourself accustomed to being. And that was a couple shows ago. But try the 30-second. Just sit there. Just block everybody out. It's
nothing.
Sounds easy. It's not easy, but it's not difficult either. Stop fighting yourself and just shut the hell up for 30 seconds. That's all it is. If you got to go into the closet, if you're at work, just go into the bathroom, sit in the stall, and just flush the toilet and listen to the sounds of the thing flowing. Figure out what works for you, but by God, do it. Don't stop being a doer, but by all means, become a being. It's going to merge those two together, and you will live a fruitful life if that is what you choose. Well, we're at the top of the hour, so I just want to say thank you for everybody who came on. Byron, any last wise words?
Good night. Tired. I go to bed.
Thank you. Erica says, I love living alone. And it's a beautiful thing. Byron, we should go to Washington to visit Erica one weekend. How about when I come from Spain at the end of May, I'll meet you in Brooklyn and we'll go. What is it, like a 5-hour ride from New York?
Yeah. Who driving? You ain't driving. I'm trying to get back here.
You ain't even right.
Are you playing salsa?
I think, yeah. Erica, she said, come on over. All right, we can do this. We can do this because I'm gonna be when I fly back from Spain. I'm gonna be like it for a week. There he goes. All right, Erica, let's hold them to it. All right, mi gente, thank you for coming on. And your soul sing spirit hands. Good night, buenas noches, namaste from La Margarita.
I'm gonna call you. Can I call you Jefe?
Jefe, no, mera.
That's the woman boss.
That's the woman, yeah. That's from like the Queen of the South, La Mera.
La Mera. Oh yeah, that's where I got that from. You had the Queen of the South vibe.